Hello lovely beaders. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to start this video by showing you this beautiful chaton. It's a simple glass chaton with an unfoiled back, but it has a lovely sparkle. My goal with this design was to hide most of the stone, and let only its bright light shine through the beadwork. And here is the finished Eda earring. See how that beautiful sparkle from the chaton just peeks through the calm blue beads. This is exactly the subtle and elegant effect I was hoping to achieve. If you have trouble finding these specific beads, please let me know in the comments. Depending on interest, I would be happy to create some bead kits for this project. To start, string this unit 5 times. 1 6 by 9 mm donut bead and 2 3 mm fire polished beads. Pull the beads down on your thread. Leave a tail that is comfortable for you and put a double knot on your thread to make a circle with the beads. Let me show you a quick tip for how I hide the thread tail when I am using larger beads. After making your knot, simply go through the beads in your starting circle one more time. As you go through the beads, just pull your thread tight. This will pull the knot and the tail inside the beads. See how that tail has almost disappeared? At the end of your circle, go through at least one more bead. This moves your thread away from the remaining tail. Then you can safely cut off the remaining part of the tail. And just like that, the thread end is secured and out of the way. Exit between the 2 3 mm fire polished beads. Pick up the 7 bead unit shown on the screen. Now go through the 3 mm bead on the other side of the donut. Your first raw style circle is complete. Lead your thread to exit from between the next 2 3 mm fire polished beads. Pick up the bead unit that is shown on the screen. Yes, this unit has fewer beads than the first one, but you will understand why in a moment. Go through the first fire polished bead and the size 15 seed bead of your first raw circle. This completes the unit. Go through the base unit again. Go through the 3 mm fire polished bead, the donut bead, and the next 3 mm fire polished bead to complete the circle. Repeat this last step 2 more times. Always make sure that you have a seed bead before and after every fire polished bead. This will be even more important later when we add the bicone beads to the front of the earring. And yes, that little reveal probably tells you. We are now working on the back side of the earring. And please pay close attention to your thread tension. It's important that these circles don't become loose, like mine did just now. To begin the final unit, first lead your thread to exit from between the next 2 3 mm fire polished beads. Go up through the last 2 beads of the very first unit. String the bead unit that is shown on the screen. Go through the first 2 beads of the last unit. To complete the last circle, go through the base unit again. To finish the back of the earring, lead your thread to a fire polished bead sitting in the middle of a unit. String size 15 seed beads between each of the middle fire polished beads. This step pulls the center of the beading tight. This prepares the bezel to hold the chaton securely later, so it will not be able to fall out. To start the front of the earring, lead your thread to one of the 3 mm fire polished bead units, and exit from between the 2 fire polished beads. The process to make the front side will be exactly the same as what we did on the back side. The only difference is that instead of the 3 mm fire polished beads, we will now use 4 mm bicone beads. You can see the first unit on screen. Pick up this unit and go through the base unit again to form a circle with your first bead unit. Go through the next base unit to start your second circle. Of course, I will show you the bead units that you need to string on the screen every time. And you need to bead these units in exactly the same way as you did on the other side. While you make these next few circles, I want to mention again, do not forget the seed beads between the bicone beads. They have a very important job here. The edges of bicone beads can be sharp and could cut your beading thread. This is your third circle. Let's make the fourth circle. Before we make the last circle, we need to put the chaton inside the bezel. The chaton might still move around a little in the bezel right now, but it will sit more securely once we finish this last circle. It will become really tight and secure when we add the last round of seed beads between the bicone beads. To make the extra seed bead circle, lead your thread to a bicone bead sitting in the middle of a unit. String size 15 seed beads between each of the middle bicone beads. Now the chaton is secured in place, and I still can see its sparkle. Exit from a seed bead just added between the bicone beads. String 6 size 15 seed beads and go through the donut bead sitting across the seed bead. String another 6 size 15 seed beads and go through the next seed bead between the bicones. And repeat around. As you can see, when my beading is this tight, it's not always easy to pass through the beads. But this tightness is very important. If your beading is too loose, the beads can move around, the chaton might fall out, and the earring won't have a good firm shape. So, I prefer to struggle a little now to get a beautiful and firm result in the end. Do you like the angle of my beading needle? Well, this is what happens to a needle when it meets resistance between so many tight beads. If you're enjoying this video, I'd love to ask for a small favor that makes a huge difference. Running this channel and creating these tutorials takes a lot of time and effort. And while I love sharing my knowledge for free, I can only keep doing it with your support. The easiest way to help? Watch the video until the end. Even if you just let it play in the background, It tells YouTube that this content is worth recommending to others. Leaving a like or a comment or sharing the video with someone who might enjoy it helps tremendously. And if you haven't yet, subscribing is completely free, but it makes a big impact on my ability to grow this channel. If you want to go even further, you can check out my tutorials and jewelry. Links are in the description. But honestly, just watching and engaging is already an amazing way to support me. So thank you for being here, it really means the world. With this last unit of seed beads, the decoration is complete. But we still have to make 2 more steps before the earring is done. Lead your thread through these beads: the seed bead unit, the donut bead, and the fire polished bead. Add 1 size 15 seed bead between the fire polished beads. Repeat around. Yes, I know. It's a struggle to go through these beads again. But it is not impossible. When you finish this step, you need to exit from the first seed bead added between the 2 fire polished beads. This seed bead will be the base for the beaded loop for our earring hook. String 7 size 15 seed beads and go through the seed bead again to make a circle with the beads. Reinforce this loop by going through the beads again. Finish your thread by putting some double knots on it and go through some beads before you cut it. I'm leading my thread to the back of the earring. I do this because there is more space to make my double knots. The beading is not as tight on the back as it is on the sides. I make my double knots by finding a thread bridge between 2 beads and I make a loop with the thread. I make a double knot using that loop. And I pull the knot into a bead to hide it. I go through some beads to find another good spot to make a second knot. You should make at least 3 of these double knots before you cut your thread. The most important rule: never cut your thread right after a knot. I love the shine of the Chaton. To finish the earring, open the earring hook. Thread it through the bead loop. And close the loop properly. And just like that, our beautifully sparkling earring is all finished. It only has that one sparkly part, the Chaton in the center. And yet, the whole piece has so much shine. What do you think? Will you give beading a pair of these earrings a try? That's the end of today's video. If you watched it and liked it, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for spending time with me. See you next week.